long since been destroyed. Yet in times of trouble, the priests were known to have hidden religious treasures in secret underground vaults until it was safe to remove them. The Bible tells us that the Ark of the Covenant and other treasures of the temple survived several foreign invasions in this way. Perhaps the Holy Grail had survived in the labyrinth under the temple as well, waiting for man to rediscover its power. Certainly it was no accident that the knights stationed themselves in a mosque that rested on the ancient site. In fact, it was after their stay that they changed their name to the Knights of the Temple, or the Knights Templar. A monk by the name of Bernard, who later became Saint Bernard, was involved in the formation of the Templars. Saint Bernard was involved in deciphering ancient Hebrew text.
Bernard, although in many ways a very worldly person, was also very spiritual. In ways that are quite odd for his time, he was very much into the feminine side of religion, very much into the Black Madonna cults of particularly of the south of France, which are very kind of mysterious, almost pagan. He had a great veneration for the feminine, embodied in lots of ways in the Virgin Mary, which was actually quite unusual for his time, and that appears to be the thing that drove him more than anything else. St Bernard was a very learned man, again for his time. Yes, he studied Hebrew texts, studied other texts as well. It could well be something that he found in there that gave these people the idea that there's something worth having in Jerusalem. It's speculative, but it's a good speculation. It seems a very logical thing. You have people studying these old documents who suddenly want to get their people to some of these old places mentioned in these documents. They're looking for something. Personally, I honestly don't know what it was they found, except that people considered it important. Nobody knows for sure. Whatever it was, nobody knows where it went. And it's a real mystery. But there's no shortage of theories, any of which could be correct. Documents, Ark of the Covenant, Holy Grail, whatever that is, but they certainly had their secret.
A very old text records the find. We repaired to the secret vault and let down one of the companions as before. The sun at this time was at its meridian height, the rays of which enabled him to discover a small box or chest standing on a pedestal curiously wrought and overlaid with gold. He gave the signal of ascending, and it was immediately drawn out. We had brought it up for the examination of the Grand Council. Just what was in this small box that got the Templars so excited? Clearly, a group of Christian knights, bound by the vow of poverty, were not interested in anything of material value. More likely, it was an object of great religious significance. To this day, we still do not know exactly what the Templars found in the secret vault. What we do know is that news of the find brought Count Hughes of Champagne, the man who bankrolled the expedition back to Jerusalem, to join his former vassals. Once there, he immediately gave up all his worldly possessions to serve under them, as one of the Knights Templar. It was after this discovery that the Grand Master of the Templars visited the Pope, and with Saint Bernard's blessing, the Order of the Knights Templar was officially recognized by the Church. All over Christendom, men rushed to join the Knights, leaving behind their families, giving over all their worldly possessions, and taking on the difficult vows of poverty and chastity.
The vow of poverty actually is why they became wealthy, because anybody that joined the order, anyone that became a Templar Knight, had to give all their possessions to the order. and it became quite a prestigious thing for noble families to have some of their sons go into the Templar order, and of course any money and property they had would go into the coffers. Also, when the Pope endorsed the order, gave it his blessing, and said this is a good thing, anyone that wanted to impress the Pope donated land and money to this new order, and actually on a colossal scale. None of the individual knights were allowed to own anything, so that all this material, that land, castles, livestock, and just pure money that was just given to them as a gift, went towards the order. Their reputation was as the most feared, efficient fighting force on the Christian side. They were kind of the special forces of their time. Also because they were this mixture of monk and a soldier.
The Knights Templar had quite a career after the Crusades. They basically took over Europe financially, dominating all of the major industries, especially that of moneylending. They invented the modern checking system, and within a few years had all of Europe's kings indebted to them.
They were far too big for their boots in many respects, certainly as far as the Pope and many kings were concerned. They were unbelievably rich. It seemed there was no stopping them, basically. Most historians believe that they got their comeuppance because of their wealth. Essentially, the French king who started the suppression of the Templars, Philip the Fair, essentially that he was jealous of their great wealth. And it is generally thought that he used accusations of blasphemy and sacrilege against them, but really he wanted their money. The charges against the Templars were blasphemy and sacrilege, and that they failed to observe the usual reverence for the church, but that was well known. There were sexual elements in the charges, but then there always are, when you think about it, in charges against heretical groups. They were accused of sodomy, of homosexual acts. They were accused of spitting and trampling upon the cross, of worshipping not just a bearded severed head, but in some extraordinary cases they were accused of worshipping the severed head of a cat.
The Catholic Church got the confessions that it needed to suppress the Templars. On Friday the 13th, 1307, the Pope officially disbanded the Order of Knights. Their Grand Master was burned at the stake. By the middle of the 1300s, the Knights of Templar seemed to have completely disappeared and their treasury confiscated. But could the richest and most powerful brotherhood on earth